Hello folks, and a very good evening. Mr. 305 Gaming here, Chris on the line. We're just going to take a look at this lovely, newly released high-performance group H-160, made by Airbus. Now I thought I'd get my hands on with it and have a little look, and maybe do a little takeoff. This is kind of my first time looking at this aircraft. I've got a bit of experience in the H-145. Doing some missions with that and flying that around. It's been quite good, but I've been told by the high performance group this is completely different characteristics with a lot more autopilot systems on board this aircraft that the 145 doesn't have. So we'll see how we get on with that. So this is currently for sale and immediate download from the high performance group operations center or their website. And it is $49 or about £40 English money, which I think is what I paid for it. So when you install it, this livery does not come with it. I've downloaded this livery from flightsim.to, where you can get lots of free content for your flight simulator, free of charge, made by creators for enthusiasts like myself. This is in the PHI group livery. I always quite like this livery with the Airbus. It's quite a nice livery in yellow, and it's the guys that fly out to the oil rigs for Shell, primarily the Gulf of Mexico, that use this livery. So hopefully we'll give that a whirl today. But you can see, let's start off by saying that the high performance group have done a fantastic job with this aircraft. I mean, it looks visually stunning. You know, there's not many aircraft out there at the minute that that looks stunning, but this is just takes it to another level in the helicopter range. I mean, it's yeah. Let's take a closer little look. So what we've got at the minute, we're actually on we're in the cockpit, and we're actually in the civilian model. I thought I'm not going to luxury because there's a lot of reviews out there on the luxury variant. So I thought we'd do a bit more realistic and look at the civilian variants. This is the sort of setup you would get on an aircraft if you're flying out to an oil rig, for example. You get probably about 8 to 9 persons on board here. So go ahead, open the doors. Everything you can see more or less works in the cabin. Obviously you can't do seatbelts. Not too sure about the clickable lights yet. However, you've got seatbelt signs, emergency exits. Obviously don't open; they're not modelled yet. But yeah, the cockpit-wise, the texturing is good. Down to the seat fabric, it's very well modelled. Cockpit-wise, glare shields, nice. Screens are great with the correct reflections. And if you want to fly the aircraft from the co-pilot seat, you also can, because you do have a working tablet there that mimics the other side. So if you're going to use your controls, for example, with your friends, you can use that as well for flying together. So currently, you'll notice that some instruments are online at the minute. It's because we're actually on DC power. As you can see there, we're running on DC power at the airport. And today we are at sunny Aberdeen, hence the Scottish music. And that's in aid to my good friend Andy, who plays the pipes and plays in the pipe band, and he's Scottish. So yeah, you fancy dropping us a link coming down to Logan Travel Virtual Airline. That's where we do most of our flying. We do have, we'll be ordering a couple of these in our fleet, which we'll be taking for a little test flight shortly, do executive transport, etc. So we're at Aberdeen. We're just outside the Babcock hangars. This is where your main sort of British oil rig transportation takes place. What we're going to do today, we're going to have a little look at the aircraft, some of the systems, and hopefully do a reverse takeoff. I did try this earlier, but didn't quite go to plan. I don't know what happened, but I was live weather. You'll notice in the previous look around, it was very wet, it was windy, so I've turned that off. We've just gone for low clouds, and yeah, we shouldn't have any issues today. So a little bit of technical information about this aircraft. It's the maximum takeoff weight is 6,050 kilograms, which is quite heavy for a helicopter. 30,340 pounds, and you can have up to 1 to 2 pilots and 8 VIP configuration, or in this one you've got 1 to 2 pilots with 12 comfortable seats. Now 14 people on board a helicopter, that is pretty damn good. The maximum range of the helicopter is 420 nautical miles, weight dependent. And it's got a fast cruise speed of around about 150 knots. You can get a little bit more out of it, but obviously it's not very fuel efficient. And the fuel capacity is 1.1 tons. Maximum endurance is 4 hours and 30 minutes, which is, again, with its predecessor, the 145, is nowhere near that range. So this helicopter does have the capability to travel, you know, a long way, state to state, and it can fly at 20,000 feet. That is maximum ceiling. So, you know, you're probably talking 15,000 at a safe operating altitude. So yeah, let's get inside. Let's have a look at some of the systems. So what we'll go ahead and do, we'll reset my view. We'll get to... So the in-flight tablet is obviously comes with a lot more. It's very similar if you guys have flown the 145 or the 135. You do get a sort of similar setup, and you can set the time to be the same time as your time on your computer, which my computer's out at the minute. So little things online here. You've got some events and stuff that don't work. Directional finder. I think they're in testing phase. A lot of the stuff on the tablet at the minute is still currently in testing phase. We do have a map. Mission-wise, it's not on there, not activated at the minute. Metars you can type in. So if we type in EGPD, should be able to find out the current metar for this aircraft. There we go. So that's all working and all correct. So let's look at the settings. So you've got crew and payload. So this way you can add your crew and your payload. So let's just say, for example, we'll go 50% fuel. We'll get some fuel in there. That's 50% full. We'll close the doors, which you can operate from there as well. And you can also have a SOA pilot or a hype pilot. And again, equipment-wise, not all these work yet because obviously they're currently in. It is a release, but obviously they're still going to update it quite often. Storage covers. We do have wind with ice and snow covers, which obviously covers the aircraft completely with the blades as well. If you go and stop in somewhere where it's extremely cold. If you just want wind and ice, which is probably a more common one to cover the windscreen, we do have blade tip covers on there as well. So we'll turn them off, get rid of the static wigs. That'll get rid of the wind and the static wigs there. Option-wise, you've got the PMS system, which is the G10750, which I have downloaded for this aircraft, which is a great add-on, by the way, for flight planning and route finding, etc., etc. And in your settings, you do have a lot of obviously psychic control settings, spring settings. I have it on realistic, although I think with the realistic gameplay mode, you used to have to apply a bit of left pedal, like in a real helicopter, called the torque pedal, and you used to have to apply that when taking off. But I don't know what's going on with this at the minute, because you don't have to apply that, which I don't think is right. I think that needs to come back where you do need to control the torque thrust with the left pedal. It does have a vortex ring state, which is a little bit off at the minute. It works, but it's a little bit off. It's a bit too much, especially when you're coming in for us like a lower descent, moving forward slowly. It will state you've entered vortex ring state, and you will lose height very quickly. It's a little bit unrealistic, I want to say, at the minute, so it might be worth turning that off until they push an update out where they'll sort that out. The terrain inhibitor as well on this aircraft is very, very sensitive. So you could be, you're taking off and you could be at 200 feet climbing, and it will say warning terrain, which is a little bit annoying. But however, they will fix that eventually. So you can adjust all your settings here, your stability levels, your dead zones, etc., etc. Also, you've got your state loads as well, which we don't like to use because that's just, that's cheating, really, isn't it? And you can also put it away. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this helicopter started up. And I've got to say again, guys, I am very impressed with this helicopter. Just to let you know as well, there is a rotor brake on this helicopter. However, if you do have live weather on and it is windy, your blades will keep spinning as much as you put the brake on. Your blades will keep spinning. It is a known error, a known fault, and the team are on with obviously sorting that out as well. Because obviously your rotor brake should stop your blades in wind, but unfortunately, live weather, when it's windy, they will keep spinning. It's just a little bit of a glitch upon first release. So let's go ahead and look at the overhead panel. So you can see we've got DC GPU is activated. So what we're going to do, we're going to look for a little checklist. We're going to go battery 1 is on and on. and you'll see there that you will get the dials go into test mode, and you get the double ding ding when the systems are armed and ready for the self-check process. Typical Airbus, you know, from the Phoenix or the A320, that the aircraft will give you a ding when it's the there you go, when the systems are online. So Gen 1, Gen 2, E-Gen set to on. Power up test OK, check. RA1, RA2 is set. FMS1, FMS2 is on. Lamp test and order, we're not going to do that. Pilot MFD in heading mode, altimeters are set, decision site, etc, etc. So, what we'll do here, we're going to set the QNH, which is 1013, which is set. We'll acknowledge that engine says fail because obviously it's not running. The heading mode is set on the nose. Fuel quantity, we'll say we've checked that we've got total fuel 810 kilos, more than what we need for today. Payload is 0 because we've not got anybody on. Crew is 155, that's myself and my co-pilot. Decision site and decision altitude as required. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do this yet. I'm going to do this when I get the engine started, just so I know the systems have got that inputted. Lighting, position and anti-clock lights. So position lights are on. And if we take a look at these lights on this aircraft, they are all LED. It's quite a nice new aircraft. So if you look at the detail they've got actually putting these lights to the left there is fantastic. I mean, absolutely bob on. You can see there that the tail light, but I'm going to show you that there. We'll engage the beacon light, and you'll be able to see the amount of detail that's gone into that. I mean, that is phenomenal, isn't it? Let's not beat around the bush. Phenomenal. Well done. Right, back to the checklist. We're going to go for signs, which are down here. Where signs are armed. As required, emergency exit signs are armed. Cockpit lighting as required, so I'm just going to turn a little bit dim, so I'll turn the lighting on there. Floats, so we go to floats, which are on the forward dash into auto. Wipers are set to off. H-TORS is on. Weather radar we're not going to use. MFD, DMAP, we'll use that in a little bit. The VMS page is, yeah, we're not going to use that in a minute. OEI rating selection is check, done. Okay, so we're going to go over our pre-start checklist now. We're going to look at the, get that on training, on traffic. So we're going to go overhead panel, we're going to go back to the overhead, and we're going to press the auxiliary pump to on. Cyclic movement, we're going to go free and travel. Full is free and travel, check. Collective pitch is free of travel. Pedals are check, free of. Collective is down. And then aux pump, it can be now turned off. Right, over panel, engine 1, engine 2, so we're going to go ahead and start engine 1 to idle. Looking at the T's and P's on the screen, making sure we're all in normal range. So here we're monitoring the M1 temperature and the TOTs, making sure they're in within the normal parameters. So we've got 96% M1. Okay, pressures are good to M1. I'm not too sure what's going on with the M1 there, but it's jumping up and down a bit. It has been noted, so we'll see if they make a bit of a fix for that. Hydraulic pressure is looking good. It's standard and functional. MGB pressure is increasing, which is good, and your NR rate, so check stabilised at 80%. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead, back on the navigator control panel. I'm going to go ahead and start engine number 2. You will know that we're on DC GPU power at the minute. We're doing a land power start, alright. Checking the T's and P's. Okay, T's and P's are looking good. There we go. Okay, so after engine starts, we want the DC GPU set to off. GPU door is closed. Collective pitch is set to minimum. AFCS system, autopilot systems are on. Testing, turn them off. Okay, back on again. Fantastic. We're going to engage the engines to flight mode. The overhead panel just at the top. Now there is a issue with the sound with this at the minute. I don't know what's going on. As you can hear there, the sound does drop when it goes to flight mode, but I think this mode is more idle mode. I think they need to jig them sounds around a little bit just to make it sound a little bit more realistic. Okay. AFC, a pre-flight test. The collective pitch is minimum. Cyclist pedals, hands off, feet off. Autopilot control, AP1, AP2 backup is on, A trim is active, that's all checked. P-flight test on message list, P-flight test okay, message list okay, FCS off, fast cut then on, fast cut is that, and then autopilot on. So that's the AFC system on, active. Right. So we're going to go. We need Jane. Where's Jane? Come on, Jane. Where are you? I need you here. Hello, Jane. Everyone say hello to Jane. So what I'm going to go do, guys, I'm going to go and put my my headset on, ready for flight. So my headset is now on, so we should be able to, on the Bose headset now, we should be able to hear us quite clearly. Right, so we're going to put this on D-map so we can see where we are in relation to Aberdeen. What we're going to do, we're going to do a reverse hover procedure, which is also known as a takeoff ground helipad category A. So this procedure, we're going to go a rearward takeoff profile with assistance from the AFCS system to maintain trajectory. VFR procedures, and they don't reduce our minimums at all. So, checklist for a Cat A reverse takeoff. So path brake is set. NR high in the upper section needs to be selected to high. Beacon needs to go to on. Landing light set, check. Barrow setting is set. QNH 1013 still. Flight mode needs to be set. SET needs to be set to hover. Takeoff mode needs to be set to rearwards. So rearward takeoff initialized. And then our decision height. Yep, just double checking that there goes where it says. So DA and DH, so we need to say decision height We're going to set that. We'll set it to, I think, 200 feet will do us for that one. And then decision height will be 210 feet, which is... There we go. Enable that. So that's all you need to do for the rearward takeoff, okay? Like that is, it's that simple. Input it on there, have it on hover mode, and then what you'll notice in a minute, hover with 6 foot into the wind, perform a autopilot. So when we're going to the hover, what's going to happen is we're going to go into the hover in a little minute at 6 foot. So it's not much, it's literally the height of a person into wind. And then what's going to happen, we're going to engage the autopilot system, the AFCS system, which will engage our auto hover. So engage autopilot, engage auto hover, press it twice, and that should display height and hover on the top of the MFD there, and that'll engage our reverse takeoffs. So, let's go ahead and take off. We should. We're pretty much ready for it. Takeoffs to the wind, and the minute there's 3 knots, it's not blowing. So Jane, are you happy and ready for takeoff? I have control. I will take it up to 6 feet. And we're going to get the autopilot engaged. So checking the feet pedal, a little bit of left pedal, applying the throttle 6%. Get it off the ground. Now what I'm going to do is hover. So now my hands are off the sticks now. The aircraft is under control. So let's say the wind now is coming from our right, okay? So what would happen now, if the wind was coming from the right, all we need to do is adjust the heading bug, which is not working on my auxiliary controls. So never mind, we're doing here. So the heading bug, all you would do is turn the heading bug to say 24 degrees. And that's where the wind's coming from. So that would be your heading of direction that you turn into wind. You can set that before we take off. And you see now we're in a stable hover. The aircraft is hovering on its own without any assistance from me. I can use beam control if I want to go left or right, or forward and back. I can use trim to do that, which is pretty cool. And all we're going to do now, okay guys, very important that you do this is, in the autopilot section, I've not got a spare button because I've got a VASIM control to speak button selected on my joystick, so all you need to do is press go around. Simple as that. Hit go around, rearward takeoff, takes control, and the aircraft will slowly rise to 210 feet and also go in a backwards motion. To the east. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to turn the aircraft to the east. So we're at 178 feet. There we go. Still turn the aircraft round to the east. And this is all done on autopilot as well, so there's no input from the sticks at the minute. Sometimes to do this on my mouse, guys, because obviously I've not got my peripherals. So there we go. So we're in position now for reverse. velocity takeoff, and all we've got to do now is hit the go around button one more time. That will automatically take you into a forward velocity, which is 15 seconds, 15 seconds this will give us now. And so your hands are on the collective now. You're on the sticks, and we're now ready to take control of the aircraft. So I can knock that off.
Hands on.
Knock the vertical speed off. We're going to turn out and heading off. IAS can come off. GTC mode's activated. And we're now moving forwards. Gear can come up. Lights off. I'm applying a bit of a collective now, a little dip just to let the aircraft catch up. And there we go. What do you think of that, Jane? Was that a good takeoff? Yeah, I totally agree. It was fantastic. And there you go, guys. That's basically the basics of how to get this helicopter into the takeoff mode and do a reverse takeoff from Aberdeen airport we're at. And it's a lovely aircraft. You know, you start getting used to it. It is a little bit fidgety at first, a little bit difficult to get used. Very sensitive on the stick if you're not used to it. But once you start getting there with it, give it some time, because I tell you, you'll soon make a helicopter pilot out of you all. Absolutely fantastic. And on that note, guys, from myself, Mr. 305 Gaming, and Jane in the cockpit here, thanks for watching, and we'll update another video soon with the shutdown procedures, the vertical takeoff, and hopefully do some landings and manoeuvring takeoffs with you all. You can see here I'm actually flying in a straight line because I've got the spring release set to on, so the joystick is just going to sit where I left it, the GTC system activated. Okay guys, safe flying, stay safe, thank you very much.